What's up YouTube, Doe here from Zephyr Wargames, and today I'm bringing you my first place Vanquish Soul profile. Now this has got a couple of different changes from previous builds that I've made. Some were mistakes, but that is trial and error, and some worked out incredibly well. So I'm going to take you through those options and show you exactly what I put together and why it worked and where it didn't work. So with all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more upcoming content. So my matchups today from locals was 2 Sword Soul, 1 Gate Guardian, which was quite a check on that one, and then the other one was Dragon Link. So I was able to go XO, so 4-0, won all of those. It was Sword Soul to start off with, then it was Dragon Link, then Gate Guardian, and then Sword Soul again in the final. So, pretty standard. I'm going to go through how I do it before, so I'll go through all of the attributes first. We go off with Triple Raisin, pretty standard on that one, alongside Triple Ash Blossom. Probably the best kind of like hand trap and attribute that you're going to need is the fire one, so rocking out the 3 ashes works really, really nicely. I've then got the 1 Kurikara, the 1 Dogoran, and the 1 Rise Heart. Now, the reason I've only got 1s is because these 2 aren't that great going first. Like, going first, you don't really need these. It's nice to have them in the hand as long as you can reveal the attributes, but it's like, if I was to play 3 Kurikara or 3 Dogoran, they're going to be no use to me like going a direct first route. However, having these in the deck is insanely powerful because you're able to either bridge to them, use them as bridges, or everything else off of the back of Small World. So really, really like these. Rise Heart finally, and Touchwood hopefully stays where he is, stayed in the deck today, which is really nice. There's so many times where I saw him in my open hand, I was like, oh, what are you doing? I want to search you, don't want to open you. But the ratios worked out really nicely for me. Then for the darks, Triple Mad Love alongside Triple Borga, 1 Magnamute and 1 Druid Swarm. These actually put in quite a nice bit of work, to be honest, so I was quite happy with these. There was only 1 time out of the entire tournament where I summoned down Magnamute, but then also had Fenrir in hand. I was like, ah, crap. But other than that, like Magnamute being able to search out Druid Swarm, it specifically in the matchups that I was faced for, so like obviously this deck was built for my local environment, but the matchups that I had, bar Gate Guardian, which I didn't use it in, but Sword Soul, really, really good. Hit the Ashuna and Vishuda, mainly the Ashuna before they can use his effect to summon from the deck. And then in the Dragon Link one, of course, you can just hit as many of their targets as you can possibly need to. So putting a lot of work, I was quite happy with those. Moving on to the Earths, we were playing at Triple Fenrir alongside Double Gold Spell, and then 1 Caesar. Now, this is the other part where this is probably the first part I messed up with. Like the one I took out Panther and Pluton. Pluton was not a massive miss, but Panther was. And the reason Panther was is because she makes a very good bridge from Ghost Spell, Fenrir, anything else like that to get to your Raisin. So she is definitely going back into the deck. There's no doubt about that in my mind. The 1 Caesar, it came up like once or twice only playing the 1. And there were times where I had to use this as the bridge to get to my cards. Whereas maybe if I have Panther, I don't need to worry about playing a second. If I need to play a second for the grind game, I will do. And considering like technically the Gate Guardian one definitely went into time, like hit time, and a second Caesar would have been very, very valuable. Like I said, there was a couple of times where a second one would have come up and would have been nice. But the reason I didn't have a second Caesar is I was playing the 1 Regulus and the 1 Alpha the Master Beast. This actually put in a heck of a lot of work, so I decided to play this instead of Prankatops. Now obviously Prankatops is arguably a little bit better, but what this did that Prankatops didn't do was this gave me the ability to non-target bounce one of my opponent's monsters and then also return this to my hand. So that if I needed a beat stick on the board, I can summon it back down, and if I didn't, I had an Earth attribute just stuck in my hand that was good to go for everything that I needed it for. Regulus, I probably will cut this. This is probably what can be the Panther. But it's just one of these ones that, like, not everyone was expecting it. I never made the rank 4 into the rank 8 to search it. It was only them times that I hard opened it. And when I hard opened it, I was like, right, okay, get Borga to the graveyard, summon this down, protect me from, like, not imperms, Evenleys and, like, board breakers, Evenleys, lightning storms, dusters, everything like that. So he did come up, he did put in a bit of work, but I can very easily see myself either playing the second Caesar or adding in Panther. Like I said, this was very experimental for the local environment, and it was kind of good to kind of see what is the standard plays and what works and what doesn't. So like, for example, when I was going into the side deck, I was actually finding myself siding out a Mad Love, a Borga, and a Continue, just to kind of see how the ratios would work, and it kind of worked okay. I'm not saying that's how you should play it going forward, but for now, it was kind of interesting to test around with. For For the spells, Trill Pot of Prosperity, pretty straightforward and simple on that one. Trill Stake Your Soul, such a good card. This is one of the ones that I messed up a little bit by not having the Pluton in the hand. Is that I'd already opened up Raisin, I'd be like, activate Stake Your Soul, reveal the Raisin, and I was like, I can't go anywhere. It's also another one where I would have Caesar in the hand, and be like, right, okay, cool, I can get to Panther. And I go, wait a minute, I wasn't playing Panther. So that's definitely one that I want to put back in, is Panther, no doubt. Small World, put in a lot of work. Really like Small World. It's rare, unless your opponent knows exactly what deck you're playing, it's rare that your opponent stops the Small World. There are a couple of different bridges that I had to try out today. Some that I weren't, some that were interesting, some that weren't so great. Like, I tried to do, I couldn't remember if Kurikara was 15 15 defense, and I couldn't remember if Raisin was 15 defense, and it was. So I tried to go Droll, Kurikara into Raisin, it just didn't work. I was like, damn, it's 15 defense. But there is a way that you can kind of, I had to go a different bridge way to get to him. And again, that's where Panther kind of comes into play, because there was one where I went Ghost Bell, and I could have gone through Fenrir, but I had to go through Caesar to get to, did I go to Magnamut? There was something else that I tried to do and it messed up. Yeah, no, I can get to Magnamut, but I tried to get, I think it was like Mad Love to get into Magnamut. Because they were both darks, but they both had 2,000 defense. I was like, damn. But yeah, Small World's still really, really good. I wouldn't want to play 3. I think 2 is more than enough. Another card that I don't play in the deck, and I probably won't, is the Yugioh. Now, I've played that back and forth, the equipped Infernoble Knight, where you can add a Fire Warrior. Like, there's times where it's really, really good, but then there's times where it's like, oh, I've opened up double Raisin. Like, I really don't want to do it. And when I was testing it, that's what kept happening to me, is I kept opening up like a route to Raisin and Yugioh. So I was like, I really don't want to play Yugioh, which is why I stuck with the Small Worlds. 2 Continue, 1 Dust Devil. I really like Dust Devil. I would love to play it at 2, but I would much rather we had a card that lets us recycle this from the graveyard rather than clogging it down with 2. A lot of people say that you go Continue first, which I can understand. But ultimately, there's a time where I'm like, right, well, I don't really need to use Continue. I'll go for Dust Devil, and I'm setting Dust Devil, and then pass my opponent, and it's like, cool, I've got like a mini Eclipse that really, really causes them issues. And the last spells, we've got the 1 Rotor and the 1 Pleasured Planet. I saw this more than actual Fenrir, which was quite funny. I still rate this because a lot of people forget that this gives attack and defense to all of your cards. And the best thing about this, because it gives attack and defense to all of your cards, when you've got Mad Love on the board, it actually boosts all of your monsters so that your defense is very rare that any of your monsters will be the lowest defense on the field. And that's one thing to remember, that Mad Love is defense on the field, not on your opponent's side of the field. So it will actually make you bounce your stuff as well sometimes. And the last card, again, that I main decked was Tikaboo. And as you can imagine, Dragon Link and Sword Soul, like, it was a no-brainer. A lot of people were siding this out, completely understandable, and you know, no gripes about that. Purely for my local environment did this work. I only saw it in the Dragon Link matchup, funny enough. And the one time, I saw it twice. So in game 2, I saw it in the Dragon Link matchup. He had 1 card in hand, I'd already seen it. I activated this during the draw phase, he'd drawn Cosmic Cyclone. I was like, woof. So we got rid of that, and then he beat me that game. And in game 3, I was able to flip Tikaboo and hoped and prayed he didn't have a Cosmic, and I was able to kind of like hold the game out from there. But in a deck like this, being able to play one of the strongest floodgates when you're looking at this, anti-spell and everything else, like, it's such a good card. It does get a little bit tricky depending on the environment. Like, if your opponent's deck doesn't lose to Tikaboo, then you're like, okay, cool, side it out. But it's just one of the ones where it's like, if I go first or second, this can help me break a board if they don't set up an Omni Negate, or if I can bait out the Omni Negate. So it's one of these ones where I'd rather have it in the main and then side it out game 2 and 3, because I've got 3 very easy slots to take out and go, rather than trying to find 3 slots to put it in with, if that makes sense. So that's it for the main deck. I'll show you the extra deck, and then I'll show you my side deck for the event as well. So Triple Rock of Vanquish, and then 13 empty spaces, basically. So I went with the 1 Security Dragon, the 1 Nightmare Phoenix, and the 1 Unicorn. I summoned this once and this once. 1 Access Code, never summoned either of those 2. Exton, Baguska, never summoned either of those. Merrymaker, Sargus, never summoned those. Dracosac, I played this in here for stuff like Skill Drain, which is obviously what Prankatops can deal with. But it's just one of the ones that literally Borga plus Rise Heart, or Fenrir plus Borga gets you this, and then you can out some tricky boards. Same reason for Big Eye and then the Rise Heart. I would like to change this back up because I did play Shangri-La, and there was a couple of times I was like, damn, I've got the ability to make Shangri-La, which makes it a lot easier to get to Rise Heart. And by going through the Shangri-La route, it actually gives you that ability to end your board on, if you open up well enough, is Rock of the Vanquished, Shangri-La, Fenrir, and Rise Heart. So it doesn't just lose to a simple Imperm. But of course it will lose to other stuff like Kurikara and everything else. And then the final one was Zeus, pretty standard on that one. Never made any of these. I made Rock quite a few times, but everything else was like, yeah, pretty standard. Nothing to write home about. Now let's show you my extra deck. So obviously this was, side deck. This was all down again to local environment. So I went with 2 Nibiru. It never actually came up, to be fair. No, I take that back, sorry, it did. It came up against a Dragon Link player. He was able to continue to play through, so it wasn't like end all be all, game over. But it still put in a lot of work. Then I decided to go with 2 Trill Tactic Frost. And the reason I went with 2 Frost than anything else is because I was playing a couple of one-offs that I thought were decent to kind of set/search off of the Frosts. So we've got Duster for the back row games, Talents, Eradicator, and D-Barrier. So it was like, right, okay, well, if I'm going first, I can get direct access to Eradicator, I can get direct access to D-Barrier, or I've got direct access to these. Now, obviously, on the flip side, if you're like, okay, well, my local environment hard loses to an Eradicator, and I can like consistently set it up, then you probably take these out for 2 more Eradicators, or 1 Eradicator, 1 D-Barrier. Again, D-Barrier is probably down for local environment because obviously, not knowing before the event, but Gate Guardian, great to hit fusions with. Sword Soul, Synchros, D-Link, pretty useless. I never saw it in any times. I saw Frost once, and off the Frost, I searched out a Triple Tactics going second. So I just thought it was kind of a good one where it's like, okay, I'm siding in. If I'm going second, I'm going to be able to add in 2 Frosts, Triple Tax, and Duster, and kind of gives you a bit of an advantage. Back row hate, we had Cosmics. On top of that as well, actually, Frost can also get you into Evenlies. And Evenlies just one of the strongest board breakers, which is why this is only at 2 rather than 3. Because it's like, cool, technically every time I'm putting in Evenly Match going second, I'm also putting in Triple Tax, Duster, and 2 Frost. So I've got 6 copies to get me there. And the reason that I like the Frost over anything else is because it's like, okay, well, if I've already got a monster on the board, Evenly isn't the right target now because I've already advanced the game state, then I go for Duster or I go for Triple Tack. You've also got access to Stake Your Soul, Rotor if you need to get into Horizon, and yeah, a couple of different options. And the last card was Triple Draw. So I saw this in the Dragon Link matchup. I stupidly held on to it because I opened up Droll, Ash, Bell, and Nibiru. So I opened up all my hand traps, no starter whatsoever. And I held back the Droll. Don't know why. I was like, okay, well, I'll Nibiru him, stop him this turn, and then Droll him the next turn. And that really didn't go to plan. Obviously, it's a nice little bridge involving Kurikara if you need to get to it, or vice versa. So, yeah, kind of, again, all adapted depending on the environment. I got hit with Droll literally game 2, I think. It was game 2 or 3 against the Dragon Link player. He went, I searched Droll and Lockbird. I literally, game 1, I went Raisin. He went Imperm. I went, okay, Rock, turn out. And then next turn, summoned out, special summon Raisin off of Rock, and he went Imperm. I was like, bro, let my Raisin revolt. Not like, literally not hit during his turn, but during my next turn, he'd obviously drawn into another Imperm. I was like, let my stuff resolve. And then I think it was like game 2 or 3, he went, I searched, he went, Droll. I went, okay. And then literally the next turn, I went, summon Raisin again, search, he went, Droll. I was like, bro, you really don't like my Raisin. Yeah. But that's it. Pretty straightforward and simple. I really do enjoy the deck. I think it's a really kind of cool deck. Constantly keep changing it. I really do rate Alpha at this moment in time. Of course, it's very niche. A lot of people will be like, no, Pranktops all the way. Completely agree with that because it's a quick effect and everything else. Gives you a bit more. But a lot of people just don't expect Alpha. And especially in the Gate Guardian matchup, especially some of the Alpha, and it's a way of getting rid of their big boss monsters because their big boss monsters couldn't be targeted. And then when you spin them back, well, they can and they can negate it, but when you spin them back, they then of course can't activate in the extra deck. So like getting to Alpha in that game was like special summon down Alpha, and I was like, okay, effect, bounce it, and he would then have to use his negate before he would actually use the one that's a quick play to destroy before I declare to use the effect. Otherwise, it stays there done its thing. But still, like I can still activate the effect. You can chain his quick effect because I have to return this to then return that one. But it just put in a lot of work. And then the fact that literally, I think it was in the first Sword Soul matchup, I was able to go, cool, special effect, bounce, bounce. And then because his attacks on the ball were still stronger than mine, I could just go, okay, cool, special summon down Alpha again. And I've just got a boss monster. Obviously, I couldn't use his effect to bounce again, but I've got a nice 3k boss monster. And even so, you can leave it in the hand, use it as one of your reveal effects of your Vanquish Souls, and as long as, again, the board state is still higher attack on your opponent's side, you can use it for a reveal and then go, cool, free boss monster, let's go. And that's what really put in a lot of work, so. And that's that one. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy this. If you do have any questions, by all means, please put in the comments down below. I'll be more than happy to answer them for you. It is still, like I said, a really fun deck. I know it is crazy expensive. It's kind of dropped down a little bit, which is kind of like a silver lining on the sense. And what I mean by it's dropped down a little bit is I believe Borgers are now like closing around £10 mark. I think Dr. Malov's £10 and I saw like Raisins at like 17 to 18s. It's mainly Stake Your Soul and Rock of Vanquish that is going to really hurt the bank. But again, if it's a deck you enjoy, it's only going to get better in the next set because we then get a replacement for Pluton. And I'm hoping we're going to get a replacement for Panther down the line as well. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Any questions, like I said, comments below. More than happy to answer them. For now, as absolutely always, stay safe and, of course, happy dueling.